Good evening and welcome back to Matty Sensei 666 and the spoopy people. This is bad fan fiction. Again, I know it's been a century and a half since I've done one of these, but anyway, we're doing another bad fan fiction. This one is called Judge Angels, and with me is Feem and Tyrone.
Yes. We're back after that hiatus.
After a hiatus and a purgatory that's been going on for about 10 million years. Anyway, this Creepypasta / fanfiction is not even on the Creepypasta wiki or even Wattpad. It's on DeviantArt.
Oh yes, we know how DeviantArt is filled with a few crazy people. No offense, DeviantArt people, but some of you are crazy.
Indeed. So anyway, the categories this is in is literature, which this is Creepypasta, so it doesn't count as literature. Characters and settings, sci-fi and fantasy, and profiles.
Oh yes.
And it's got a lovely edgy picture of a guilty written in blood. So
guilty.
You know we're in for you're in for a treat when it's got edgy blood already and it hasn't even begun the story.
For edgy, fight me.
It kind of looks like it was drawn on by a sheep. Ketchup or some shit.
Yeah, anyway, I'm gonna get the ball rolling. So this is Judge Angels. Today is an important day for the Clarks. After 10 months, Mrs. Clark is finally going to give birth to her child. Everybody in the region knows Mr. Clark of the Clarks, and famous and Mr. Clark of the Clarks, that famous and serious judge, lives here. That famous and serious judge lives here.
We're only, what? Three lines through and
lives where?
Don't know what the hell's going on.
Anyway, so yeah, we're going to do this in a paragraph, so who wants to go next?
Me!
Fuck it.
After a few hours, the nurse delivering the child walks out from the room with an awkward expression on her face and goes to Mr. Clark's office to see him. Oh wait, I gotta do the voice, haven't I? Mr. Clark! The nurse looks at him with a shocking expression on his face.
Yes? What is it?
Mr. Clark looks at the panicking woman and frowns. Oh, you might need to see for yourself, Mr. Clark!
What is it that needs me to go and take a look at? Why not tell me now?
Well, your child seems to be a bit special, in quotation marks, because...
Characters of Mary Sue, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
The two arrives at the room.
The two arrive.
No, it is actually spelled that way. The two arrives at the room where Mrs. Clark is taking rest. She's lying on the bed, and next to her is Mr. and Mrs. Clark's child. Mr. Clark notices that the other people who helped with the birthing also seem to be embarrassed. When he walks up to the child, he sees his child, and instantly the expression on Mr. Clark's face becomes more shocked than that of everyone's.
Right. The child is a girl. But her hair is in the colour of blonde.
In the colour of blonde, yeah. Look at all those grammars.
Yeah. Why not just her hair is blonde? Her hair is in the colour of blonde.
And why is that so interesting? I don't know why I needed you to point that out, to be honest.
Unlike her parents, Mrs. Clark is red, while Mr. Clark is brown.
Actually, can I just say something here? That can happen. Because it could be passed down from generations, so it's not that freaking interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's genetic.
The most surprising thing, however, is that the girl has a pair of terrifying eyes. Her eyes are all black. The pupil, the white of the eye, pure black. Let's see, Mr. Clark.
What a monstrous creature is that?
Mr. Clark shouts furiously. Nobody talks back. Suddenly, Mr. Clark grabs the still resting Mrs. Clark.
You didn't mess with our people, did you? Or how can you give birth to such a monster?
Mrs. Clark is very weak right now, Mr. Clark, please!
Like I care about it!
Mr. Clark throws her back onto the bed.
Tell my lawyer to come here!
Concludes Mr. Clark as he leaves the room.
Me next then. Let's see. A few days later, Mr. Clark's lawyer, Taylor, arrives.
Let's see.
Mr. Clark, about your daughter. She certainly is your daughter without a doubt. The DNA test did not go wrong, and the test site show that her eyesight is normal. The doctor even said that he has never seen a case like this. Her eyeballs are black, but she has no problem with her eyesight. In fact, her eyesight is 2 times of a normal person's.
Yeah, very sweet.
And also, they should just go on Jeremy Kyle and Jerry Springer and Maury Provinstra. Just have done with it now.
Yeah.
Oh yes, there we go. Taylor, standing in front of Mr. Clark's desk, hands him a stack of documents on the girl's information.
But she's a monster. She's not perfect. What I want is a perfect child.
Mr. Clark says without even taking a glance at the documents.
Then what should we do? Hand her to the orphanage?
Taylor asks.
No. That would affect people's impression on me. If that's the case, then I shall not let her go to school. I will recruit as a teacher. Don't let anyone see her. Also, tell the nurses who helped deliver the child not to tell anyone about this. This is a very bad issue to our family.
Mr. Clark closes his book and looks at Taylor.
If any accident happens, just finish her off. She's a failure, after all.
Wow, this guy's a really nice father. He really like, oh no, my child has some sort of defect. Disown! Disown!
I predict he's going to die in a very, very horrible way.
So do I.
Yeah, you know, because that's how fanfictions go in this sort of town.
Years later, Dina Angela.
Oh, the title of the story is called Judge Angels. Yeah, Angela, Angels. Ooh. But we're so clever.
Wow! 10 out of 10. So subtle. No, not. The Extraordinary Girl is now 13 years old.
Same age as Jeff. Oh my god. Right, you're shipping fanfictions now.
Yeah.
Gasp!
They're 13 people, but you know.
She doesn't like to talk. Possibly because she was locked up in the mansion all her life by her father. Therefore, becoming. Therefore became anti-socialized.
I'm gonna say this now. Why didn't she just grow her hair like Rapunzel and just, you know, do that?
Dina knows that her father is a very famous judge, and that he does things very fairly. Always look at things in a neutral point of view. However, he always seeks for perfection on everything, which is why he has a very bad relationship with Dina. Despite knowing that her mother and father were never so well with each other before she was born, or before she was even born, it can't be changed. Both of their parents decided the marriage themselves at that time.
Let's see. Dina has never stepped outside before because of her eyes. She gets herself a mirror and looks at her eyes. They are pure black, but looking closely, she actually sees little sparkles in them, like a small galaxy. She is often fascinated when looking into her eyes. Her blonde hair is short and messy, but she usually has them brushed whenever her father is around, though it's usually her mother who brushes them. What?
For Mrs. Clark, she never cares much about how Dina looks. She's always on her daughter's side. Always thinks of her, of course.
Always think of for her.
Always think for her.
What?
Of course.
Ah,
She always knows what her husband what her husband, she knows what her husband, okay, who doesn't like Dina at all.
No shit!
Yeah, no shit.
Dina doesn't have any friends. Her father has been imprisoning her for all her life. No shit. And even though the house is really huge, she still feels very lonely. She used to have thoughts on making a friend, or like a certain boy. But it seems impossible in this situation. Currently, the only person that supports her is her mother, Mrs. Clark. So she really adores her. Diana thinks about these things.
Dina,
Fuck's sake. Dina thinks about these. Dina thinks about these things as she watches the kids playing around from the window.
Suddenly, pineapples. No. Suddenly, someone knocks on Dina's room door.
come in.
Mrs. Clark comes in and says,
Dina, I will be going to the department store later. Do you want me to buy you anything for you?
Mrs. Clark says as she looks at Dina.
No thanks. Wait, but dear, you haven't been eating anything recently. You seem thinner than before. I will buy you something to eat later.
Mrs. Clark left the room before Dina can even stop her.
I told you, I don't want it.
No. You're supposed to read the end bit, which is...
Sigh.
Ellipses. Despite saying no, Dina actually wants to try something from outside. Clothes, food, anything is not interesting for her now.
Then why did she decline her mother's offers?
Because edgy Mary Sue character, you're supposed to sympathise with them, even though they act like fucking idiots. Let's see. She wants to try something from the outside world, but no. Dina knows that ever since she was born, a maid was employed by my family. What?
By my family. What?
What's-
The narrator's family. The author's family.
It's gone from the third person to the first person.
It's broken the fourth wall.
You can't do this. You can't change from third person to first person just like that. A maid was employed by my family. Her name is Meisha, and her job is to take care of Dina. But the maid's job is actually, in fact, to be Mr. Clark's bodyguard. What? He spent a lot of money to recruit this woman, who has loads of criminal records to prevent Dina from causing trouble. What?
What the fuck?
She has criminal records, so I'm going to hire you to prevent some.
Who the fuck employed her?
That's fucking stupid logic.
As well as to protect him. After all, who knows what Dina will do to him? Thinking to the person with criminal records, what will they do to you?
Yeah.
Thinking to this point, Dina giggles and thoughts.
If I can, I would want to kill him.
What? Okay, your turn again.
It will be Christmas in a few days, but Dina isn't excited about it because, Edge! She doesn't get excited for things.
I only get excited about Halloween because it's all about murder.
Since she always spends Christmas as if it was a normal day for her. It doesn't matter whether she has celebrated it or not. Fortunately, whether it's her birthday, Mrs. Clark would always prepare a small cake to celebrate with her. If she hadn't done, Dina would have forgotten how old she is. But, really? Why is she so ungrateful? Her mum's preparing a cake for her, at least. I mean,
Because I'm Dina, I've got black eyes, so I'm gonna kill everyone.
Because she's basically American.
Since there won't be having any tutoring today, let's do what I usually do, which is sitting in my room and being emo and thinking about how life sucks so badly.
Dina thinks. She stands up from her bed, leaves the room, and starts wandering around the house.
Oh, how fucking interesting.
Yeah, 10 out of 10. Yeah. But even though Mr. Clark locked her up in the house, He never said anything about not letting her walk around the house.
Ooh, such edge.
Oh, that loophole, though.
It's a good thing that the house is large, and the family is pretty much the richest in the region.
Oh, fucking hell.
But Dina isn't complacent just because of that. Also, Dina is utterly disgusted by arrogant ones who cares for their pride.
Her morality is absolutely perfect because she's a perfect character. She's a Marist. Ugh.
She's a Sylph Marys.
Dina always visits Mr. Clark's collection room, even though he strictly forbids Diana to enter that room. Oh, that anarchy.
Dina.
Let's see. She will always sneak into that room. She can stay for a long time because there is one thing that really catches her eye. A pure white sword. That sword is placed in the glass case. Well, at least now we know what the murder weapon is. And is isolated from the other collections. If that's something very special, but this is supposed to be a creepypasta. I don't know what the scary thing is supposed to be because this person has black eyes.
Yeah, it's not that scary so far.
Yeah, a creepypasta is supposed to shock and unnerve the reader.
No. Currently, this is becoming a what I like to call a stupid pasta.
Yeah.
Because this seems to be what Jeff the Killer was also suffering from. It
Yeah,
goes
it's
on about expedition for like half a fucking minute, and it doesn't even get to the actual plot until halfway through, and you just don't care for it at that point.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be like she's gonna turn evil, start killing people, but with no build up. She's just gonna be like, I'm gonna kill ya.
Exactly. This is unlike, say, Laughing Jack. It sort of built up and it gave hints that something creepy was going on, whereas this doesn't give any hints like that. Oh, she just has black eyes. That doesn't add to suspension or build up.
She's got black eyes, therefore she's evil. So this is literally just a fan fiction. Anyway, pure white sword. That sword is in a glass case and is isolated from the other collections, as if it's something really special. Whenever Dina gets close to the sword, it creates a soundless resonance. And that sword always shines in a silvery white color. Dina would stand for hours to watch that sword, according to her mother. That, according to legend, that sword originally belonged to an angel. Oh!
Lick gasp.
Oh, I see. Her father's a judge, and something to do with angels. So. Yeah.
Angel of Death.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yes, belonged to the angel. And during a war, the angel accidentally dropped the sword into the human world.
Oh, accidentally. Oh shit, son.
How
I motherfucking dropped the sword into the human world. Whatever shall I do? That just sounds fucking stupid.
How convenient.
Yeah.
Is this supposed to be the plot to Devil May Cry 5?
Yeah. Devil May Cry 5000, the shit-stirring fanfiction version.
Oh God, yeah. As the angel had dropped the sword into the human world and was never found by the angel again. However, since then, the humans of the world began using it for different reasons. It was once used to kill. Well, it's a sword, so presumably it will be used to kill.
No, it's just used for shaving their legs.
Yeah. That's what angels used to shave.
Yeah, as a friggin' Wilkinson sword after all.
To protect for personal benefits, etc. Thus the sword was passed down like this for many, many years. There is also a rumor about the sword considering one who builds a good relationship with its master for eternity. With it.
The sword has a master. It has a master.
It's smart. It's possessive. It's smart. Well, I don't understand.
Oh yeah.
Oh God.
Let's see. Yeah, Dina. And by the way, there's a paragraph for you to say things.
Okay.
Such a beautiful sword. If only you were mine!
Actually, it's such beautiful sword.
Oh, sorry. She turned into Dude. She turned into Dude.
Doge. How are you now?
Dude. Such beautiful sword.
No, much silver, very white. Wow.
If only it were mine! Dina's black eyes reflect the image of the sword. Woo! So creepy! She places her hands onto the glass case and feels as if she was getting sucked in. Wow, seriously. This isn't scary, this is just dumb. Suddenly, she hears footsteps coming in, so she hides herself. Wait, wasn't she getting sucked into the case? How could she just suddenly hide herself all of a sudden? The door opens, and someone comes in. It's Misha! That random character that no one gives a crap about. She's doing her daily patrolling. It is obvious that she's looking for Dina since Dina left the room without her permission. She have Dina's action restricted this badly. She stares at the maid with a hateful look. Dina comes out from where she is hiding as soon as Misha leaves the room. But what happened to her getting sucked into the sword? That sort of happened, then it just dropped. That's really bad writing.
Anyway, another paragraph.
In the evening, Mrs. Clark returns home with a lot of things she brought from the department store. Almost all of them are daily supplies. Unfortunately, she meets Mr. Clark, who doesn't show up often, at the front door. "What did you buy?" Mr. Clark says. He grabs Mrs. Clark's arm as he asks her, and some of the items Mrs. Clark brought fall out, including some of the food she brought secretly. "Why did you buy this food?" It's for that monster, isn't it? How dare you buy these things secretly?" By the way, that has a question mark at the end of it.
How dare you buy things secretly?
Yes. How dare you buy these things secretly? Filled with fury, Mr. Clark pushes Mrs. Clark onto the floor. But before he kicks his helpless wife, Dina came in and blocks her heartless father.
Father! What in the world are you doing?
"You have no right to call me father, you monster! Only the most perfect ones can call me that!"
So Cell can call her father. Oh, father! I'm going to eat this bean without hesitation.
Well, I'm confused. Why is he so convinced that she's not perfect? I'm assuming he hasn't had children before, so what does he know what is perfect and what isn't? So.
You're not perfect.
Oh yeah, that thing. You're not perfect. yeah, just that thing. So, yeah.
I have an idea for the fun now.
Mr. Clark slaps Dina, bouncing her to the side.
Well,
This
reminds me of Magic Doll when Trixie turns Spike into a ball. She just kind of bounces him to the side. It's like, yeah.
She stands up from the door and glares at her father before he says, "Humph," and leaves. Perfect. No. No, that is literally in there. Perfect.
Yeah, so
No, not capitalised and just in between that line.
Yeah,
the two paragraphs.
I don't understand this. It's spelled P-E-R-F-E. It's like perfect, but just what?
It's kind of like sort of like, you know how you get people doing slang and shit, but it's not even perf.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make sense in the story at all.
Yeah. Oh, you're so perf. It's a Valley Girl thing. I'm assuming this is supposed to be like a paragraph, but it's...
Well, I should probably continue reading because technically that's still connected.
All right, fine. Yeah. See your point.
No. After making sure that Mr. Clark had left, Dina goes up to Mrs. Clark and asks,
Mother, are you alright?
Don't worry, I'm okay. Sigh. I'm quite unlucky today. How about you, dear?
Oh,
I'm fine. But didn't I tell you not to buy them for me? If Dad sees it, it doesn't.
It doesn't matter, since you're my only daughter.
Mrs. Clark touches Dina's face gently before she says,
Music, but then it kind of just messed that scene up for me anyway. Let's sleep together tonight, Dina.
"Oh God." well.
The truth is, Mrs. Clark is
Wait.
super horny for her daughter.
No. Well. This is. I can see why they wanted to read it. I mean, gay pride. I mean,
Well,
it's been legalized in gay marriage has been legalized in 50 states in the USA.
Yeah, too incest for me. Oh my god. Well, then again, this is on DeviantArt, so
Yeah.
incest is wincest.
The truth is, Mrs. Clark cannot escape her husband's bind, even if she wanted to. She has thought of divorcing, but she can't give up on Dina. Even if the divorce was successful, it is likely that Mr. Clark would not let them go for good. She could just get Mrs. Clark could just get a restraining order.
Yeah, she totally could.
It's like, oh God,
Oh my god.
stupidity.